I'm just going to use a little brown now. Let's put a little bit more depth in through here, and the summing through here. I'll just put a little bit in for you. We'll continue. Okay, down through there. I'm going to put a little grey on top of that, because what we need to do is establish some depth in there. And then go back in with our white. Just blend that in. You notice I'm not using my finger at all, and I don't like doing that on the pictures. Well, I don't need to, particularly because it smooths the fur in too much. A little bit of grey up there I'd forgotten about. Like that. Now, with that finished, we can move to the fur around the other eye. Now it's time to tackle the nose, the mouth and the chin. First of all, we'll fill in around the nose as we did with the eye. And very important, I keep emphasising this, but it really is important that we work in the fur direction at all times. Don't just think, oh, there's a big area here, I'll just fill it in. Because all your intention shows at the end of the picture. So then we'll put a little bit of pink. First of all, we'll frame it. We can see where the nose is. And a little bit of depth in here and here. Now, we're going to lose that nose. We put the pink onto here, we're going to lose it. So really the very next move is to bring in some shape. Now we know that that is the nostril, one either side, and along the top edge we have the shape of the nose. Okay, either side, a little bit of grey coming in either side, but you can now see clearly the shape of the nose. Now, it will probably surprise you on a very small area like this just how many pencils I'm going to use. Going to be at least 7 or 8. I'm using a ready ochre now, just to put a little bit of depth underneath. And you can see the tonal value is very close to the grey. So when that happens, the next move is to work your next pencil down, which is a dark brown, and again re-establish. So we've gone from grey, now we're in dark brown. Keep re-establishing those, as long as you keep in touch with it. You can't go wrong. I'm constantly referring to the photograph. Now you can't look at that photograph too many times. I've never counted the amount of times I've looked at it, but I tell you, it would probably surprise you. Got one eye on it and one eye on the picture. Okay, next move is to just lighten up the top again, because now we've got to start putting some shape into the nose, tip of the nose that is, and a little bit of white in there, like that, and then we're going to a little darker pink at the bottom, like that, and once again you'll see it's starting to all merge together. So in comes the black. Well, as with the eye, once the black hits it, it really does create the drama. You can see what it's done there. Now you've waited for that, and not very long, it hasn't been a long sequence, but you can see the rewards are there. Okay, there's your little... Now, we've got to start building the mouth up. Really very similar. We've got a little bit of pink in there, through into the white, bringing it out. We're going to deepen that. That looks a bit daft there, I know, but it's going to be all going to work out in the end. A little bit of brown to establish strength. Now, you see, now that's too hard. So what we need to do is to cushion both this and this. And what we do, start off with, and put a little grey up the top. And in fact, it might be a good idea for me to run all the way around with that. So put a bit more white in. Remember, fur direction. Bring it round so that what we have now is puffiness of that cheek, which is rather cute, coming out. And we can do the same thing underneath here. Now I'll do one half here and leave that half, then you'll be able to see the difference. We'll start off with the grey, a little bit of ivory, cushion. Using the side of it, still working, you see, fur direction there. You see it's starting to bring that back. And a little bit of grey in there. A little bit more pink in there. Good backs and forwards. It's already starting to bring out the desired effect. Very dark grey, brown, a bit more. And you see that now has given us a little bit more strength to worry about. So now we come in the grey. Just keep going backwards and forwards until it ends up as you want it. I'm going to add now a little bit of dark ochre because that is very, very attractive with grey. I use the two together a lot. You can see that brings that out. We can now pick up the white again and just pull back in here. That I'm going to pick up the ready ochre and just establish that. See the difference? This hard line that we had to start with is no longer hard. But just here we have to bring in some shading where the whiskers come. Go a little bit there, a little bit there, and another one there. A little wiggle down there. First of all with your grey, a little bit of dark ochre, that, and then finally just bring in the white again, just to soften them a little bit so they don't become quite so hard. And then quite a lot of strength, re-establish a little bit of white there, so it gives that a little puffiness. And you've got the shading coming through rather nicely, and through here. And you can see now we need to put a little bit more depth in through there, and that side is fine. It's almost done. Just a little shading through this area. Once again with the grey and the ochre. Use a little ivory in there too. And then coming in with the white again to establish that. Now we're not going to do whiskers yet. We'll leave those for a little bit later when we finish. Now you can see what a difference completing the face has made. Now I've already started completing the fur at the bottom of the animal, so I'm going to show you how I did it. Now I start as before with the white. You can see now I've got a nice solid base in there, but we have a problem because if I do the same there, I'll just do this to show you, it's exactly the same. Not much I can do about that, but it's a good idea that if you're going to do a change of colour, Don't do too much, because by the time you get down here, you've forgotten where the line is. So while it's still fresh in your mind, you just put a little bit of grey in. It's like over here where the dividing line is needed. Okay, so you can carry on. And there is a second one actually just here. Again, we can make it good later. What we're looking for at the moment is to make sure we don't lose that. We can bring some ivory into play. That starts the blending process. Now, normally I wouldn't say put your finger on it. In the case of long fur, it's quite an idea to actually just touch it in lightly without rubbing too much. You can see it blends in really well. Okay, now before we go on, I'm just going to bring the white back into play here, just to re-establish the edges that I want to create here. Put that in, like that, and again here. Now I'm going to put some colour in now. This is the ochre going in, we've used before. Just touching with your finger. That's almost it. Just going to put the whiskers in. Now, the white on white is not going to show up very much. So we put a few in, zip them in on the other side, but you can see on this side, not much reaction. So what I'm going to do is add a few grey. Not too many. That's enough. The cat I've shown you will provide you with many helpful techniques that you'll find useful when drawing cats of your own.